In this program, you're going to learn about love, sex, and power. You'll find out how the ancient Greeks and Romans figured in television, microscopes, and Minneapolis. You'll uncover the inside scoop when tonsillitis meets a tonsillectomy, because this program is about roots. Not cultural ones, etymological ones, word roots. You're going to learn how to increase your vocabulary efficiently by using Latin and Greek roots. There are other ways to build your vocabulary. Memorization, for example. The trouble is, it's hard to learn words that way, and it's even harder to remember them. Learning roots is a better way. If you can figure out what a word is made of, sometimes you can figure out what it means. When a mechanic studies gasoline engines, he doesn't have to learn every gasoline engine, because once he understands the parts, he can pretty well figure out any engine. Carburetor does this, spark plug does that, crankshaft pushes piston up, valve lifter pushes valve down. It's the same with words. Many of them are made up of interchangeable parts. And if you can learn the meaning of one part, one root, you can plug it into other words and understand them too. It's a very efficient way to build your vocabulary. The English language has thousands of words that are made up from words or parts of words taken from other languages, from Greek, for instance, and Latin. 60% of all English words come from Latin and Greek roots. But who's counting? If you learn some of these roots, you can use them to understand hundreds of English words, especially technological words. Take television, for example. The word television has a Greek root. Tele is the Greek root, which means distant. Vision, you already know. Put them together, you have distant vision, television. The phone in telephone comes from the Greek root meaning sound. Telephone is distant sound. And the graph in telegraph comes from the Greek root for writing, distant writing. And once you know the meaning of the Greek root tele, you can take a shot at figuring out words like mental telepathy. It's mental, distant, something. Pathy is a Greek root too. It means feeling. Now you put them together, you have a definition. Mental telepathy is distant feeling by way of your mind. You see pathy all the time in hospitals and doctors' offices, usually combined with other Greek roots like osteo, the Greek root for bone, osteopathy. The treatment of your bones and muscles is bone feeling. In fact, you've got Latin and Greek roots all over your body. Caput is the Latin word for head. And if yours comes off, you're caput. Capital punishment has the same effect. Manus, the Latin word for hand, is at the root of manipulation, which is skillful handling. Manacles, which handcuff crooks, and manager, who handles people and problems. The following passage will show you just how helpful a knowledge of the Latin root manus can be. In spite of the manager's manipulations, the superstar refused to obey curfew, so the next night the manager manacled him to the bedpost. There was a lot of clever handling in that. When you learn a new root, it's a good idea to put it to use in a sentence right away. It's easier to remember that way. Latin and Greek are at the root of sex, too. Gyneco is the Greek root for female, hence the words gynecology and gynecologist. Andros is the Greek root for male, so you should be able to figure out the meaning of androgyny, not by the way it sounds, but by the way it looks, by looking at the roots which make up the word. Androgyny means exactly what it says, male and female, all at the same time. Gynoandromorph is a shape which is both feminine and masculine at the same time. Morph is a Greek root meaning shape or form. Anthropos is the Greek root for mankind. So an anthropomorph is a human shape. Using the word in a sentence will make it clearer. Sometimes driftwood has an anthropomorphic shape. Once you know the meaning of the root anthro, you can take a good guess at the meaning of anthropology and anthropoid. Anthropology is the study of mankind. Anthropoids are human-like creatures. Gorillas, apes, and chimpanzees are anthropoids. And anthropologists study anthropoids in out-of-the-way places. Then there's the word philanthropy. Now, you know it has something to do with mankind because of the anthro root. And if you investigate the meaning of phil or phile in your dictionary, you'll see it's another Greek root, meaning love or loving or friendly. So put them together and philanthropy becomes the love of mankind, which is what a philanthropist expresses by giving money away to charities and institutions which help people. And when you know the meaning of the root phil, the meaning of sentences like the following one becomes clear very quickly. The philanthropist went to the Philharmonic with Philip, who was a real philosopher from Philadelphia. There's a lot of love in that sentence, and let me tell you. Love of mankind, love of music, love of knowledge, and the city of brotherly love. Prefixes go at the beginning of words. Pre is Latin for before or going before. Fix, you know. So a prefix is literally something which is fixed in front of or before something else. The prefix pre comes before all kinds of words. These words, for example. Stick the prefix pre in front of arrange and you get prearrange, something set up beforehand. Third base coaches give runners prearranged signals to steal. Precaution is what you take beforehand to avoid problems afterwards. Preconceived notions are ideas which you have made up your mind about beforehand. As in the sentence, she had the preconceived notion that if she did a good job, she would get a raise. Prefabricated is made in advance. You can prefabricate houses or excuses. And predisposed means to tend to do beforehand, as in the sentence, he was predisposed to like her because of her beautiful black hair. Lots of words start with pre. Precede, preclude, precocious, and predict are just a few. And you can tell a whole story using them. The precaution printed on the prefabricated wall made him predisposed to predict that it would not stand for long. He was a precocious boy. Another common Latin prefix is post, which means just the opposite of pre. A postscript is something you write on a letter after you've signed it. That's where P.S. I love you comes from. Pone means place or put, so postponed on account of rain means to put the start of play after the rain stops. Humus is earth, so posthumous means literally after the earth. You are posthumous after you are in the ground. Your posterior comes after you. It's what you're sitting on right now. You put all these words together in a sentence and you've got another story, a real whodunit. The postscript to the posthumously received postcard indicated that the postmortem should not be postponed, contrary to the wishes of the butler.